The city of Ingapirca was constructed about the year 1500, and it wasn't discovered by Westerners until 1730 something. But most of this was covered up, and they didn't finally excavate it until the 1970s. Now this site is called Ingapirca, which means Inca wall. Before the Incans arrived here in 1500 or so, this was a Cañari settlement. The Cañari were the original inhabitants of this area, and that's why this province is named Cañari.
This is the Gran Concha, which was used for people to get together to worship. The word concha is Quechua, but it's been adapted here in South America to mean a field or a court. This was a stone used for sacrificing, mostly for animals such as llamas and alpacas. They would lay the animal here and cut off its head like this.
Okay, we're standing here at the Temple of the Moon. Now this was a temple that was constructed before the Incas got here as part of the Cañari settlement. And here you see a typical example of Cañari architecture. In contrast to the Incas, they chose stones from the river, and you can see they're not uniform in shape, and they used a type of mortar to hold them together.
The Cañari used stone from the rivers to make circular buildings, whereas the Incas used stone from volcanoes to make rectangular buildings, as you can see here. This is an example of Inca construction. So here we see foundations, and here is a replica of what a building would have looked like.
Those Incans were hella creative. They had underground aqueducts and shit. This is an example.
This was a religious site, so only about 80 to 90 people lived here, but in the surrounding area, about 3,000 people lived.
The oval shape of this Temple of the Sun is perfectly symmetrical, and it's built west to east so that in the morning they would have their ceremonies in here, greeting the sun as it came, and in the evenings they would have the ceremonies on the west side saying goodbye to the sun. Since this was an important building, they did this with like religious sites and sites of like people that were high up on the hierarchy. You can see the construction here. There's no mortar used, no type of like glue to hold these stones together. They're just perfectly cut in uniform heights, and that's how they made this last. And these are original. These are the original stones that were here. The Temple of the Sun is pretty much original. There's only like 5% that's reconstructed, whereas the rest of the site of Ingapirca is up to 80% of it is reconstructed or replica. But this is all original and typical of Incan architecture. We're standing here on the top of the Temple of the Sun, and this is like a religious temple that was used at the site of Ingapirca, and it was used for sacrifices and like religious ceremonies like that. This used to be a house, and there was like a building, and this is where they would put their offerings, and there was like a hole in the top where on the summer solstice and the winter solstice the sun would shine exactly through on this one certain spot. Alright, this is the west side of the top of the Temple of the Sun, and you can see here these are little altars where they would have put the offerings after they sacrificed them.